Welcome to Rescue Owners Live. This is Monday. Y'all, and we're on every Monday from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm your host, Kirk Mote, and you are on with your favorite co-host, Beth Motes. Go ahead and put in the chat. In fact, I'll do it as well. Where are you tuning in from tonight? We want to know where you are listening in from. So for us, Atlanta, Georgia, home of the Braves, and world champion. That's our man, David, in the background. He is our producer and the rock star at that. So, yeah, we love our Atlanta Braves, and it's about time. It is about time. So yeah, go ahead and throw in your chat where you are tuning in from. We love to know where you are listening from. We have a worldwide audience, literally hundreds of business owners tune in every Monday evening from 8 to 9 to hear how we can help you grow your business more effectively, efficiently, and profitably, all through the lens of achieving your personal, professional, financial goals. We have, ourselves, diving into a lot of content, but we also bring on special guests fairly frequently. So I'm going to do my best to get more guests on as frequently as possible because I know our listeners absolutely love that. Now, we've had a pretty big last 2 weeks. I mean, last week we had Buck Wise on, which is like the master marketer. Like, this guy's a rock star. And the week before that, we did the inaugural Rescue Owners Challenge. Now, the Rescue Owners Challenge, if you did not know what that was, if you didn't attend, let me tell you, it was an absolutely incredible experience. We had 15 guest speakers over the course of 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And sometimes we went over. We just kept going. And these are speakers that we collectively put in all of their speaker fees, and collectively through 15 people, they're well over $240,000 of speaker fees, but we got them for you, and they donated their time 100% for free so that they can invest in you and this audience, because this is the best audience. All right.
Oh, of course.
And so what we want to do is we want to, help them out. And the way that we can do that is purchase the recordings. So for $97, let me see if I got a nice little promo for you. For $97, you can purchase all 15 days and 4 days, 15 speakers, 24/7 on-demand access. We are literally creating our, development team is creating a special portal, custom portal for all of the content, all of the homework, all of the, notes and everything. It's going to be great. But for $97, $240,000 worth of content is yours for $97. And get this, 100% of proceeds will be donated to Pass the Pulse. Pass the Pulse is a nonprofit organization that, focuses on, helping families and communities be prepared, prevent, and properly respond to cardiovascular diseases. And they do that by donating a defibrillator. So that's the hardware, the software, the training, and the maintenance, so that family or community group can have a defibrillator that is ready to rescue for a full decade. Like, that is unheard of. No one else in the nonprofit industry is doing this. And so Pass the Pulse, that's why, this got so much, heat during the last couple of weeks, is because we wanted to, build them up and help families and communities in need get that defibrillator if they can't afford it. So, these are families who has a kid, a spouse, a parent who has a cardiovascular disease, and they can't afford a defibrillator. But, 80% of out-of-hospital cardiac arrests happen at home. Someone you know, someone you love. And so if Beth, do we have a link? Actually, here, I might. Here, I have right now. So we're going to throw that in the comment section. Boom. Here we go. Barry, thank you for joining us. This guy, let's see. Let's throw him up here. How do you pronounce that? Where is that?
Ames.
Ames? Ames, come on. Welcome to the show. We got Corey, my man Corey. He's in the house. I met this guy for the first time. Man, this was at Brady McLaughlin's Life Saving Summit. So thank you for joining us tonight. This is an incredible experience to have you on, and my job is to provide you as much value as possible. So the link is in your chat. If you did not purchase, if you missed one of the sessions 2 weeks ago from the inaugural Rescue Owners Challenge, that is what you want to do. It's $97. Like, bang your credit card, man. I mean, I guarantee you, if you don't get, I would say probably $10,000 of value between now and the end of the year, then I'll give you 100% of your refund back. I will go to Pass the Pulse and say, hey, I know we just donated this money to you, but we need to refund this guy because he didn't implement what was learned. So that's my commitment to you, that if you don't get 10 times, 100 times what the price is, where this, I'm telling you, we had Pat Quinn on.
Yeah, we had some amazing people giving some really wonderful advice and insights and tools to be able to use to grow your business.
Pat Quinn, guys, ladies and gentlemen, Pat Quinn is the speaking coach for like the Sharks on Shark Tank, for presidents, for Olympic athletes, astronauts. This guy is the guy that coaches go to, like coaches go to, like these are. I can't even tell you how incredible his content was. We had, let's see, Will Figueroa. We had Brady McLaughlin. We had Jared Yellen. That dude is a rock star. Jared Yellen is going to be starting and creating from napkin to concept to like reality tech companies, 10,000 tech companies in the next 10 years. And they're off to a great start. So we actually, if you're interested, when you do purchase it, you are getting access to, skirt the lines of his process because you're in our community to pitch Jared Yellen. So you actually you get to, it's
move forward in the line.
What's that like?
Flash pass
or like, I'm thinking, what was that? American Idol, like how you could actually go to Disney World and, compete. And then all of a sudden you get this, if you win at Disney World, you get a pass to skip to the front of the line on the actual competition so like, that's basically what you're getting here when you purchase $97. The ability for Jared Yellen, that's only one of the speakers, by the way. And then day 2, we had Justin Lafazan. I hope that's how you pronounce his last name. I've never asked him how to pronounce his last name. This guy's one of the 30 under 30, him and his partner Dylan, and they're one of the Forbes 30 under 30. That's huge.
Yeah, that's pretty massive.
So he was one of the speakers. We had Ken Jocelyn. We had TK Kasende. Again, I've never asked him how to pronounce his last name either. But these are people that are like major world shakers. I mean, TK has literally created this platform called SabaPay that is going to revolutionize the unbanked in Africa and really globally. It's going to absolutely change the world as we know it. With this technology, is going to be huge. 3 was huge. Wednesday, we had 6 speakers. I mean, let me see if I can remember everyone. So we had Brent Crow, followed by Mike Papel. We had Magda Khalifa, followed by Pat Quinn. That was my man, Pat Quinn, Russ Yeager, and Dr. Hudson Garrett Jr. Not Gary, Garrett Jr. Very, very intelligent people. You do not want to miss the content from there. And then the last and final day, we had Michael Glover, my man, Michael Glover. This guy, he knows a thing or two about business. He is a smart cookie. He's probably listening to the call right now. He's been a huge, supporting force for this show. And we've had him on a couple times because he has so much value to add. Michael Glover. Then we had Jared Ritter, a rock star, a real estate agent, investor. This guy, awesome. And then we closed tonight with my man, Mike Sirocco. And now I do know how to pronounce his last name. But this guy, he was incredible. I look him up. I mean, Yahoo talks about him as like the top, I think, 10 people to watch, like entrepreneurs, business owners. Like, this guy's huge. He is shaking the world. He is changing things, and he's someone you want to stick close with. You want to follow him on Instagram, all the things, Facebook, LinkedIn, and like literally everyone I just mentioned, you need to go find them on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, follow them. By the way, if you're not following me, do so. All right. I appreciate the follow. That's Rescue Site Services on all platforms. Okay. That's Instagram, LinkedIn. And we're on YouTube, by the way. We're streaming live on YouTube. We just started that. And so look, check out that link below. I promise you, you will get 100 times the value of that $97 offer right there. And by the way, we're donating a charity, so it doesn't get much better than that. So look, hey, the content for the night though is going to be about hiring.
So important.
So one of the things that I do, it was funny. I actually got an email from my accountant. It was like, hey, just wanted you to know he's like, you spent like $40,000 on personal growth so far this year. He literally emailed me. He goes, it's one of the interesting line items. I guess business owners aren't doing that. I'm not sure why, but I just thought that was hilarious. That I literally looked at the emails and he goes, I just wanted you to know.
It's like, are you aware?
Are you aware? And I was like, yes, I know. I am spending that much. I am investing that much on, my personal growth as well as my growth of the business. So that's for Rescue Owner Live. I can come in and tell you with authority, like how things are done. And here's some best practices. Here's some ideas. Here's the blueprints. If you want to get from A to B, instead of, doing this, like a lot of entrepreneurs do, they have the ups and downs, the roller coaster. I'm in the same boat. I've been there. But the more I invest in my business, myself, and I learn, I skip the line. Kind of like we were talking about earlier. We skip the line and we get from point A to point B so much faster because we have the blueprint, because someone else, guess what, has already done that. And they've already accomplished exactly what I'm trying to accomplish. Maybe a little bit different industry, maybe a little bit different spin. But guess what? I can apply the same processes, systems, and like literally how you find people. I can put that all into my, recipe, if you would. What book am I reading right now? By the way, read a book a week. That is one of the biggest, things. Great by Choice, Jim Collins. I mean, I heard of Good to Great, but I heard someone in another book mention Great by Choice. I'm like, I didn't know he wrote that book. So I immediately bought it, and I have a little bit left in the book. I listened to it on Audible. So for those of you who understand, I have like an hour and 59 minutes left. But it's been great. I can't tell you. I'll text Beth as I'm listening to it. I'll text her some things that I got from it. Did I text you something recently? I'm trying to see what I said. Oh man,
I'm not sure you did.
Let's see. Kyle, I know I sent something. The only mistakes you can learn from are those you survive. Okay, that was something that I got from this book, and it was talking about a guy who was climbing Mount Everest and the importance of preparing and properly preparing and having a margin of error and, investing in a little bit more oxygen tanks or not. Cause you gotta weight the value. Okay. If I bring more oxygen tanks, that is heavier equipment and more expensive equipment. Right. So there's cost to that, on a body toll for climbing up the mountain, as well as a financial toll. If you do less, okay, maybe you move faster, but what happens if you're going to have, extend your trip for whatever reason? Maybe there's a storm, you have to come back down for a day or two. This guy planned for all these contingencies. And, the thing that stood out to me is the only mistakes you can learn from are those you survive. The story that they were telling was the story of a team that he saw get to a certain point. There were two teams climbing Everest close to each other. And one of the teams had like 8 people on it. And he knew from his research and preparation that, there's this one point where only one person can get across at a time, and it would cause a bottleneck and too much time of exposure on a mountain. And so he decided to go down, let them go, and then he goes, right? Turned out all 8 people died.
Wow.
It was one of the worst catastrophes on Mount Everest that has ever happened. And so like look up the story. It's very interesting. But his takeaway was the only mistakes you can learn from are those you survive.
Well, and that's very true for business owners because especially when you're starting out, there's so much you don't know, so many potential pitfalls, and most of us only have so much capital that you're working off of. Maybe that's a savings account you used or an investor, or simply extra money from your business, or your main job at the time. But it's so important to be able to figure out that balance between moving safely, but also moving quickly enough that you get the revenue in that you need and grow as fast as you need to, as well as being able to actually move fast enough that you don't burn out in the process, whether that be money wise or just your energy levels.
Great point. And I do want to commend Beth for being here tonight. Her voice is totally shot. So if you can't tell, she is working hard to talk. And so I appreciate the input that you are bringing. But yeah, let's talk about hiring mistakes. Let's dive into it. And my notes are really tiny tonight. 74%. I should have 74% of employers have stated they hired the wrong person for the position. 74% of employers have stated that they've hired the wrong person.
It's a lot.
Oh my gosh, that is so much. I just can't even imagine. 35% knew the candidate didn't have the needed skills, yet assumed they could be learned quickly. And everyone knows,
That can go either way. That can go either way.
What do you mean?
As in, sometimes people can truly, as we'll talk about in a little bit, focus on hiring for the person versus for the skill set, because we can train skills. You can't train a personality.
Right. So you hire for attitude, not skills in that sense. Yes. So there is a balance.
And that's what I'm saying of sometimes, in the sense that it depends on how much you need them to learn.
Right.
If it's a small amount of skills, that's one thing. But if you need them to completely revamp and learn a completely new role, then it might not work out the best.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I say like the skills part, I mean, it's something like, okay, I hired, and actually we had this conversation when we got our oil change recently. Oh. The guy was like, I'm not going to say the brand because I don't want to like offend anybody, but we went to this one brand and he's like, dude, who did you get your oil change from last time? Because your air filter was not on. And that's a whole issue in and of itself, which we won't get into too deep of detail. But bottom line is, I told him, and he goes, bro, they're just hiring people and throwing them on the line. There's no training. There's no, here's how to do this. And by the way, you and I both, actually, I say you and I both, I almost, but you were, had an experience where, the air filter was not put on right from another company.
Yeah.
And you got like maybe 100 yards off of the lot and your car shuts down.
Well, even worse, it was trying to drive into people. So yeah, it's a problem. You want your air filter put in properly. But
tonight we're not talking about air filters. The reason for the air filter story, though, is because the whole point is this particular oil changing company is not training people how to do things. Okay. So training is a huge part of it. So it's like, okay, yes, you can hire and train the skill, but if there's a certain skill that needs to, the prerequisites, or at least, some certifications, then I'm thinking of a welder. I'm thinking about someone who's working offshore. I'm thinking about all these trade, style jobs. What are they called? Trade jobs? Trade schools. Any trade school, right? So imagine hiring somebody, hey, you want to be a welder? Sure. And they never went to welding school. I mean, that's a big deal, right? Yeah. They might have a great attitude and you're like, oh, I'll teach them on the job. And if you do, that's great, but they still need to go through the welding school to have the certifications, have the knowledge, have the know-how, to have the experience to properly do something. Because do we want our bridges collapsing? No.
Well, if you're in Atlanta.
Well, yeah, there you go. David, do you remember that? Yeah, so look.
Burned down, sort of.
Yeah.
Concrete one.
Did someone start a fire under there or something? I mean, it was a crazy situation.
It was the whole thing.
30% felt pressured to fill the role quickly? Has anyone been told, hey, we need this position filled now, go? And they give you like a deadline. It's like, okay, tomorrow, a week. You got 2 weeks to fill this. Like someone just put in a 2 weeks notice, and you're scrambling, right? You're like, oh my gosh, how are we ever going to replace this person? They were great, and now they just got hired by our competition or whatever the case scenario. Now you're scrambling.
Well, and that also goes back to having policies and procedures in place, because a lot of times when one person leaves and no one else knows how to do their job, or you've never set contingencies in place of when Mary Lou takes a 2-week vacation, someone else can do her job, which that has dual benefits, because then obviously if she goes on vacation, you have someone to do her job, but also if she moves to a different position or retires or whatever, moves out of state, you can now have someone else who knows how to fill that position until you can find someone else.
100%. If you do not have the processes written down, if you don't know what they're doing, and all of a sudden they get hit by a bus, or that's the worst case scenario. But like, in your case, they just wanted to take a vacation, and all of a sudden your whole business collapses because you don't realize how much they actually do for the business. I mean, we see this all the time. And as a business owner, like, what are the stats? We got 31.5 million small to mid-sized businesses here in the U.S. 25 million of those are single owner LLCs. I say LLC, depending on that could be a different. They're single owner business owners, all right, businesses. And the bottom line is, 2/3 of the 31.5 million, which is about that 25 million mark, by the way, fail. 2/3 of businesses fail cyclically every 5 years. And the conclusion here is that they don't have a team. They don't have enough revenue. They don't have the things that they need in place in order to do that. So if you're
they've built themselves a job, not a business.
Wow.
So they get burned out because they've created a new job for themselves, but they're also playing the boss, and they're also playing the employee, and they're playing every other role that a team should be doing and helping them work through each day. And so they either hit a point where they run out of money because they're doing too many roles, they run out of energy because they're just exhausting themselves, or it just fails because there's no one else to help them.
And like, what a great point. A lot of times people start businesses because they don't want that boss, or they don't want that job, and come to find out they're trading one job for another because they don't have an exit plan.
With more hours and less pay normally.
Yeah, more hours and less pay. Here's what happens. You have people, like, they have this great idea, and they go all out, and they're like, okay, I'm a business owner. And then next thing you know, COVID hits. We didn't, put a 10% tithe towards our emergency fund to fund operating expenses for the next year, so that when COVID happens, we're able to continue working, continue marketing, continue blowing up while everyone else is like contracting. Like, if you're able, like, think about all these, real estate investors. They're liquid, and they're able to buy when the market is, crashed. Real estate options that are, really great options, but they're able to get a great steal on them because they're in a position to be able to buy. You yourself need to be in a position to take advantage of opportunity as a business owner, and you do that by making sure you have 10% tithe towards your emergency fund that can then fund your operating expenses for your goals to get to a year. Okay, a full year to be able to fund with like zero income coming in, but you're able to operate as if you're having income come in. And imagine where you would be right now. I can't tell you how many CPR instructors that are like, you know what, I'm out of the game. Guess what? We were able to come in, and we were able to purchase their list, or like we structured a deal, right? And so it's put us in a great opportunity to take advantage. Great position to put us in take advantage of I'll try that again.
Put us in a position to take advantage of the opportunity.
This is why I married her, guys. All right, she can literally translate. I love it.
Get enough practice, you get good at it.
Wow. So all that to say, we want you to make sure that you know how to properly save and what are you saving towards, and
Know what those
properly
numbers
invest.
are.
You got to know your numbers. We are in the process of developing an incredible technology that will revolutionize an industry, and part of that, we started interviewing developers, and we went through 3 different developers. We're on our 4th right now that we're considering. And the first 3, like, first of all, the first one's like, dude, this is huge. I got to refer you to someone else. So they refer me to someone bigger and better
Well,
than
but
them.
at least that person knew.
At least they were honest. Then we presented it to them. They said the exact same thing. So we got out to the 3rd group. And guess what? One of my questions I asked is like, I want to know that they know their numbers, and I want them to feel confident in their ability to deliver on my vision. And so I asked very strategic questions. By the way, the quality of your questions determine the quality of your results. So if you ask stupid questions, and yes, there are stupid questions that you could ask. How are you doing today? That's stupid. No one cares,
Well,
right?
and honestly, and we're gonna go on a side tangent with this, but with asking how are you, that's a question you don't know the answer to.
Yeah.
And you can't control the variable. They could be like, I had the worst day ever. Well,
Right.
now they've just carried that into this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, whether it's sales or, prospecting, whatever, versus being able to start off and be like, hey, here's these questions that are going to actually, benefit the conversation. You're starting it off with something that's not beneficial and not going to move the conversation forward for either person.
Yeah. So I asked some very strategic questions, one of which is involving numbers. What's the biggest project you've ever worked on? Oh, I'm not a number. I don't know.
I don't keep those numbers on top of my head.
That's someone else's job. That is, boom. Just like Buck Wise talked about, boom, lost trust immediately because they didn't know their numbers. And so for me, I'm like, okay, why am I going to spend $250,000, potentially $500,000 or more on a build out of this particular technology if you don't feel confident in your ability to produce?
Well, and at that point, then you start to question everything else. You start to question their ability to not only complete the project, but quote you out numbers. The second that they're hesitant with things like that, it gets very.
They start touching the face, they start scratching, they start getting uncomfortable. Like, be certain. Like, sales is a game of certainty. You can't come over here and be like, well, let me check on that real quick. So
even if you can't give a specific number for it, give them a ballpark. Be like, hey,
right.
Most we've ever done is around this much money. This is the least we've ever done. It's been around this much, but we have options for X, Y, and Z. Just giving even those ballpark figures, even if you're truly not sure, is going to be so much better for you in the long run than if you're hesitant or don't want to give a number. If you hesitate, all of those things are just going to quickly lose trust to where the person doesn't want to work with you.
By the way, if you have specific questions at all, feel free to throw them in the chat. We'd love to answer them regarding hiring or really anything we're talking about here today. This program is for you, and we want you to take full advantage of the time with us. And it's 100% free. And so if you have questions specifically about hiring, how do you hire, what's your process, all the things, like, let us know. We would love to have that conversation. We would love to answer those specific questions. That's what we're here for. What was the last thing you said? I thought I was going to segue into something. Share. Let's share. So if something that we've said so far tonight, I hope you're taking notes, by the way. Every time you're listening to anything, a book like I do, or someone talking like this, take notes. Have a pen, have a notepad. You'll see me pretty much I don't think there's a single episode without a pen and a notepad right next to me taking notes, because if I'm interviewing somebody, I'm like, okay, that was great. I'm taking notes on what they're saying. I'm thinking about great questions to ask afterwards. So share this, because I guarantee someone in your network needs to hear something that's being said today. Were you going to say something? No. Okay, cool.
Just go back into the hiring.
Yeah. So back to the hiring. Let's talk about, do you know the cost of a bad hire? I didn't until Saturday, which, by the way, we invested in some training that we took about hiring with one of our mentors. So the cost of a bad hire, 30%. 30% of the individual's first year expected earnings is the cost of a bad hire. So let's put some perspective. A $50,000 annual employee, that's their salary. So 30% of that, $15,000 or more, is the cost of a bad hire. Why? You got recruitment and advertising fees. You have hours spent reviewing resumes and interviewing candidates. You have time and energy onboarding and training new employees. You have managing poor performance. Has anyone had to manage poor performance? Well, by the way, do not do the annual review thing. That is a thing of the past. Do not wait until an annual, like 365 days from the time you hire somebody to tell them what they're doing right or doing wrong. Tell them immediately.
There should be daily feedback.
I love it. That's exactly right. There should be daily feedback. Drain on productivity and lack of continuity of work. I mean, like that can be like exponential in the effect. The impact on team morale and stress, that's huge.
Well,
Your environment.
It cuts on their trust level of you because
Right.
they're going to know if it's a good hire or not. And if you bring someone bad into their group, they're going to lose trust in your ability to pick the right people.
Wow. Can you say that again?
Your team loses trust in you and your ability to pick the right people if you bring someone in that is not a good fit.
Because they'll know if this person is going to work or not. They will know if they will jive with your culture or not in like instantaneous.
Well, and I know different companies that in order to go through the hiring process, they're in the room, the person who like owns the company or is making the final decision, but they bring in people from the team to be part of that hiring process so that they're actually part of that decision as well.
Which, I mean, that's a great standard, operating procedure there. I love it. The last thing that, adding up to that $15,000 of the 50 is risk of lacking customer service process. Okay. So like there's a ton of money wasted by, your cost, things that you might not even thought of or considered. Like people, a lot of times, especially entrepreneurs, they don't consider their time at all. And I'm like, dude, you just spent 14 hours today working on XYZ. That is worth something. What's the Instagram, it cost this much because it took me like hours, right? Hours. I'm not going to sing it for you. I can't sing. But I'm sure you've seen it on Instagram, the song. It costs much because it took me so many hours. Let's go, Brandon. But all that to say is, look, we want to make sure that you have the ability, the information, all right? You know the information now. This is the cost of a bad hire. This is, some of the numbers behind what we're talking about. And so what are some steps that you can do to get, great employees? Number one is you got to promote your brand. If you're taking notes tonight, promote your brand. Number two, you want to promote the job, okay? The job that you're actually, want someone to do, whether that's sales, whether that's marketing, whether that's operations, administration, it doesn't matter. You need to promote the job. Number three is you got to promote the culture. What kind of culture does your business have? Is it I guess this was actually in the book I'm reading currently, and it was talking about the culture of Pacific Southwest versus Southwest Airlines, right? And check them out. It's very interesting because they literally like mimicked to the literally every aspect of Southwest they copied. It was literally a copy paste. I'm pretty sure that that's the verbiage that they used is we went on one of the flights. We took notes of every little detail down to, things that the pilot said in the cockpit to the things that were, said by the stewardess on the flights. And they were able to take what Southwest Airlines did and they made it better. And so it's absolutely incredible when you observe and you take notes at what you can do, because what his point when Collins, I'm making sure I'm saying his name right, Jim Collins, the author of this book, what he's pointing out is hey, you don't have to be the first to market. You don't have to be. You could be the second. You want to be near first, but you don't have to be first, because a lot of times the people who have innovated, they're not the ones who make it big. It's the company that comes up behind them and actually implements what they did even better, because they were able to see, okay, I see what you're doing here. Now let's create XYZ out of it. And so if you can look at something else, and this is something that we do all the time, like our affiliate program, no one else is doing this in our industry. And so like now there's a couple people doing it in the industry, but when we launched it December of last year, there was no other affiliate program out there. And so it was really cool to be able to, take something that was in another industry and say, okay, how can we apply our rescue side affiliate program to this CPR training industry? And what it looked like is, okay, let's blind drop ship, medical devices, FDA approved medical devices on behalf of CPR instructors to their clients, and then hit the CPR instructors with a commission. If you're interested in a program, a platform like that, it's 100% free, by the way. And we, of course, have membership, annual memberships where you can pay a little bit more, and so that you can get a bigger commission. So it started out free, though. Anyone can join. And so we wanted the freemium option, business model, revenue model, if you would, so that we could get as many CPR instructors on the platform as possible, because we know that what happens when someone comes in, they're a CPR instructor, they do one thing really, really well, and that is they train people how to save lives, which is so powerful. But what happens is at the end of the class, the number one question they're going to be asking is, hey, Kirk, you just told me how to use this thing called a defibrillator. Where can I get one? And for me, for the longest time, I shrugged my shoulders and say, I don't know, Google it, until I realized that I was doing my customers a major disservice. So I decided to become a distributor, and I'm patting myself on the back. I'm saying, all right, cool. I was able to solve my problem. And I then realized, hey, there's anywhere between 100,000 and 250,000 CPR instructors here in the US alone that are still shrugging the shoulders whenever they're asked a similar question, where can we get a defibrillator? So that's why we created a rescue side affiliate program, so that CPR instructors just like you can join for free and have a customizable e-commerce plug and play website with their name on it. And so whenever one of their customers asks them that question, they can simply point them to their very own website. So if you're interested in any of that kind of content, I'd love to talk with you afterwards, or you can email us at support@rescuesiteservices.com. Anyway, moving on back to the hiring part. I know that's a huge little side note here. By the way, if you do have questions, feel free to throw those in the chat. We love to answer your questions live. So moving forward, what are you promoting, right? When you promote the job, you're promoting your objectives, you're promoting your competencies, you're promoting your metrics. Okay, what are your key performance indicators, your KPIs? What are your core competencies? What are your objectives in this industry? Those are things that you're promoting when you're promoting, on your job descriptions. Because what happens is, so often people see a job description online and they're like, oh, that looks great. And guess what? It is nothing like the job description. Why? Because the job descriptions that are written out there, 99% of them are trash. And so when you read them, you're like, oh, I think I can do that. Or, oh, I think I might like that. And you get there and it's like, oh, that was nothing like what the job description said it was. And so it's your job as the business owner or whoever's in charge of posting these job descriptions to make sure that they're written and they're written well, with objectives, with competencies, with metrics of what you expect, because you don't want to have someone new come in and say, hey, I can do this job. Great. Okay, awesome. But if you don't tell them what they need to do up front, then they're going to have to guess for themselves, right, of what they think they're supposed to do. And how can you measure their success on a daily, not an annually, but a daily? How can you measure their success if you don't have these core metrics written out? You want to promote your culture, all right? And you do that by, having core values. So, if you don't have core values, you need to have core values. And ours, and we've taken them from one of our mentors, Brandon Dawson. There's 6 of them: inspiration, discipline, accountability, transparency, alignment, and results. And notice I have those memorized. They're so important that you have to have them memorized because it's part of your culture. And guess what? If someone isn't disciplined, if someone isn't inspirational, if someone isn't accountable, someone isn't aligned or gives results, if someone doesn't, guess what? You can have that conversation now because at the very beginning of your hiring process, you're able to have this conversation with them. They know up front that, hey, inspiration is a core competency. Am I being inspirational today? Am I being inspirational in all things? Am I disciplined? Am I being disciplined in my physique? Am I being disciplined in my personal growth and reading Audible? You can go around. It's just that one, I believe. Are you being disciplined in all things that you're doing for the business? Or is it kind of haphazard? Is there any sort of standardization or not, right? Are you accountable? And who are you accountable to? And so it's interesting how when people are not accountable, then their business tanks. And when there's not accountability to someone, if you're a single business owner who, when I say single, I mean like a one-person show, a solo entrepreneur, you got to make sure that you're accountable to someone, and that someone should be a mentor. All right. So I'm a huge proponent of mentors. Get one, invest in one. It's going to be the best thing that you've ever done for yourself personally and for your business, because there are people who have been there, done that, and have accomplished things that you're trying to accomplish and will help you get there so much faster. You got to pay to play. Like these mentors are not free. There might be some, opportunities here and there. Like Rescue Owners Live, that's 100% free. Like we are providing great content. We're providing great speakers. We're providing great value. But on the whole, it's stuff like this is not free. You have to pay for this type of content so that, and by the way, the more you pay attention. So often when something's free like this, people come in, come out, they might turn it on while they're in a shower or driving down the road, not giving the full attention. Like, you need to sit down in front of a desktop computer. You need to sit down with a pen and a piece of paper. You need to sit down with a mind focus of, okay, what's the one thing I can get out of tonight that will help blow up my business for the rest of this week?
That I can actually implement.
90%, Buck Wise talked about this, 90% of people who go to conferences, seminars, workshops, attend Rescue Owners Live, 90% of people that do those things will not implement. Not because they can't, not because they didn't take great notes. It's because they're not committed to actually taking massive action. And when you I can take the best notes in the world, but if I don't have an implementation plan, I think Michael Glover that talked about making sure that when you set a goal, that you go to your Google Calendar immediately and you set time reminders of what you need to do, when you need to do them by, and so that when you get that reminder sent to you, you're like, okay, that's your accountability. All right, Google Calendar can be your accountability. Transparency. Like, when I ask hard questions, hey, what's the most amount of money you've ever made in a single year? Has anyone would you like to double that? Right? Duh. And then, has anyone ever showed you how to do that? No. If I could show you how to double your income in the next 365 days, would you give me 5 minutes to show you how? Those are great questions.
True.
Get your attention. Transparency, by the way, I'm getting an answer to each one of those questions, and I'm not moving forward until I do. Whoever's asking the questions, whoever gets the answers to the questions, control the conversation. And if you're not getting, the answers to the questions you're asking, guess who controls the conversation? The other person. And so you've lost trust. Boom. Because you're not able to, take control of the conversation, and keep control of the conversation. Control is important. Like you want to make sure that you're able to ask a question, get an answer. Like, hey, what's the most amount of money you ever made? It's none of your dang business. I've gotten that before. You're right. It isn't any of my business. But if you had to ballpark it, are we thinking 100,000, a quarter million, 500,000, million, and then now all of a sudden, now we're getting an answer, right? So I don't move to the next question until I get an answer to the previous question. And you want to make sure you do it because transparency, literally, one of our core values is transparency. So if people, like when I ask, hey, what's the biggest project you've ever worked on? And they start scratching their face and they start, that's another department. They only have 2 people in their business. And like, you should know the numbers. To me, that boom, lost trust. And to me, there's no transparency there. I'm not willing to work with someone who's not willing to have that transparency with me.
You'd never see someone say that to a shark on Shark Tank. Oh, well, I don't feel comfortable telling you.
Yeah, go watch Shark Tank. Yeah, go take some time. That's a great show, by the way. Those are masters at asking good questions. Okay.
And they get
answers. Notice that. They control the conversation. They get answers. And when they don't get answers, I'm out. No transparency. You got to have transparency in your business. Without it, you cannot attract the type of people you want to attract.
And that's how any worthwhile partner is going to act as well.
Yeah. Alignment. Alignment is so important. Let's say you got one, person over here that has its own vision and mission and idea of what your business could be or should be. Guess what? Do you think that person is going to be aligned with you? Probably not. And so you got to make sure that you don't bring someone on that has a bigger leadership lid than you do, and John Maxwell talks about the law of the lid. And that's, your ability to lead others has a lid. And basically when you got to continue doing personal growth and you got to continue working on your leadership ability, because you cannot attract someone up here if you're right here to work for you. See what I'm saying? So that's a great visual. You cannot attract the person. If you're right here and you're trying to attract this rock star over here in this other business, guess what? Why would he come down to your level? You need to first get up to his level, surpass it, and now he's thinking, "Oh my gosh, Kirk Mote with Rescue Site. He's shaking some things over there. He's doing some things with that affiliate program and the technology he's about to build out." We'll tell you all about that later. That's just a little teaser. But like, look,
it all starts with you.
It all starts with you. Your commitment for success, your commitment to to sell. Honestly, I mean, you as the business owner are the number one salesperson. By the way, sales is a way of life. It is, whether it's, hey babe, what do you want for dinner? I got to sell her on what I want, pizza. Right? And I don't win every night. Rarely, maybe once a week, but I will always answer pizza. And we established tonight that spaghetti was a close second. We had spaghetti tonight. It was great. Loved it. I should have been Italian, I think. I don't know. I just love the pizza and pasta and bread and carbs. Oh, ice cream, by the way. But alignment. You got to make sure that your people are aligned with you. Results. Why would you not have a data-driven business with metrics, with KPIs? If you don't have this, hey, by the way, if you're not producing this much, you're out.
Well, and that starts at the very beginning, because they should be on all of your job descriptions and all of the things you're posting to get people in. So if you don't have those numbers, you get a problem front end too.
Yeah. You are not like, I know, like, I'm trying to think of another industry. So I worked in house flipping for a while. I did that on the side, and it was a lot of fun. And part of that, the group I was working with explained that they do lease to own. Okay. And lease to own a house. So I say that you're this person with terrible credit, but they can get approved to rent. And so you sign an agreement to lease to own or rent to own. And so they're renting for a period of time until they can get approved for a traditional mortgage. based off of their, previous 12, 24 months worth of consistent, hey, by the way, I know my credit looks bad, but I've been able to pay this for 24 months. Can I get approved now? Thank you very much. So basically what I'm saying is one of the things that they did is they vetted really hard on the front end so they didn't have to deal with any issues on the back end. So it's a very specific person that they were looking for the lease to own option or rent to own option. And if they did not fit that mold, guess what? More times than not, they're going to have an issue with that renter because they did not do a good job vetting on the front end. Same thing with your employees. How much more so with your employees? Because if you have an employee that comes in and you like them, maybe friends and family, right? I like them. They're cool. I think we could, enjoy each other's company outside of work. No, this is business, right? This is not playing fun. Like, this is business. You need to focus on the fact that you are here for a reason. You need to have your vision, your mission, your core values straightened out right here, right now, today. If you don't, you should be able to rattle them off. Because if not, how can you attract somebody who doesn't know where you stand and where you're going? You're a ship without sails. You are a business that's floating and getting tossed by the wind and waves. And that's a horrible business. It's a failing business.
Well, you're setting the bar for everyone else after you. So if you can't rattle off all the things that you're expecting them to, they're never going to.
Right. So one of the first things that we do, we require a 60-second video. Okay. So when someone says, "Hey, Kirk, I think your business is kind of cool. Are you hiring?" The answer is yes, we're always hiring. All right. We are always hiring. So if you want to work with us, send us a 60-second video. If you want to learn how to achieve your personal, professional, financial goals, because guess what? We make sure that we show how our vehicle, Rescue Site Services, is the vehicle, how our vehicle and how you fit in within the vehicle, how doing that job can get you to accomplish and achieve your personal, professional, financial goals. So we want to make sure that we're aligned up front. But we realize that it's not about you making my dream come true. It's about us making your dream come true. And you should recalibrate your thinking when it comes to those types of things, because so often, how many people here listening has had an employer come to you and say, "Hey, Beth, what's your personal, professional, financial goals?" I would love a testimony in the comment section. I guarantee you we will not find a single person in the comment section say, "Hey, I have had an employer ask me those very questions," because they don't care about you. And that's what we're trying to flip. We're trying to flip the script, because we want businesses to be successful, but we want the individuals to be successful as well. Because without the individuals, you don't have a business. All right. It is a team effort. You look at every single athlete, every single quarterback after the Super Bowl. "Hey, you did such a great job today. Oh, I have a great team." Every single one of them will say that. You listen out for those interviews. Almost, I would say 100% of the time, they are, pushing the success on my linemen, on my receivers, on my blockers, my team. Okay. Same thing for your business. You got to build a team first and foremost, but how you build that team is so powerful. So make sure that I would encourage you to do what we do here, is require a 60-second video. That 60-second video is going to tell you so much about this person. It tells you how they dress. It tells you how seriously they're going to take this conversation. It tells you, hey, if they went over 60 seconds, it's a 5-minute dissertation. Guess what? They can't follow directions, and it's an automatic disqualification. So if you're interested in getting hired with us, you're getting a little bit, behind the scenes. The curtains are being unveiled over here, so that do not go over 60 seconds for your first hurdle that you have to jump through. I can't tell you how many times we've done job posts, and I've probably hundreds of responses saying, "Ooh, I want to join. Guess what? We ignored every single one of them, because in the job post, It says send a 60-second video to this email. Not a single person did. Like a couple people. I think we had like a few. But guess what? Out of the hundreds of people that saw it and hit the apply automatic button, guess what? They first of all, they didn't read the instructions. They didn't follow the instructions. They will not be a fit. They will not align with our culture. And so we know that based off of one simple thing, and it's requiring a 60-second video. One of the other things that I would highly encourage you to do is to have a core values presentation. We talked about our core values: inspiration, discipline, accountability, alignment on results. And it is so important that you figure those out for yourself. And if you don't know what those are, you need to get them. And so when you have a potential employee, a potential employee, and you tell them after they've gone through the 60-second video, after they've hit a interview or two, and you're like, okay, I think this is the person that we want to hire. Now it's your turn to present a 30-minute presentation to the executive team, a core values presentation. They're like, I got to present 30 minutes to executive team? It's like, yes, because you need to I need to feel confident that you feel confident in the vision, the mission, and the core values. Because if you, first of all, don't know it, when we do consulting, I don't have my wallet on me. I'll pull out my wallet, $100 bill, and I'll say, hey, I got a $100 bill for the first person who can tell me the vision, mission, and core values of this business. Go. I have not given that $100 bill out yet because no one knows the vision, the core values, the mission of the business that they're working for. And that's the number one problem that we see.
Sometimes that they own.
Sometimes they own. That is exactly right. The business owner doesn't even know. And so the employees are like, and what we'll do sometimes, we'll have them write it down on a piece of paper. Everyone is like an individual project. And then we'll read them out loud to everyone. And then we'll look at the business owner and say, hey, you have 17 different missions. You have 37 different core values. What's going on here? Have you seen the problem yet? Have you seen enough to make a decision in our consulting? Let us help you out. And so it is so important that you spend the time, I would say right now, tonight, and figure out your vision, your mission, your core values. Because without those things, you will be a ship without sails. You will not be able to attract any sort of potential employee that's going to help you reach that full potential. Our vision is to create a world where no one dies from sudden cardiac arrest. That is a massive, massive vision. And I can't do that by myself. We can do that by ourselves. We have a team of people that we're building, and we're continuing to build, and we'll hit 1,000 employees in the next 10 years. I guarantee you. Okay. We're going to build this massive. And I mean, we'll be $1 billion business in 10 years. I'll just go on and say it. We'll be $1 billion business of annual revenue in 10 years. Okay. That's billion with a B. And it will happen. You've heard it here first on Rescue Owners Live. But listen, if you don't have your vision, your mission, your core values set, if you don't know the big idea, the brand positions, the brand attributes, the brand pillars, if you don't know those things about your business and you would like to get those developed, let's schedule a call together. I'd love to have a conversation with you to learn how we can help you develop those for you, your business, and so that your industry can be better for it. Because until you get those straight, you won't know where you're going. You will not be able to attract anyone in to work for you, to work with you, and to have a successful business. So it's been, oh my gosh, it's already been an hour. Can you believe that? It's been a full hour. If this has been something that's been valuable for you, please let me know in the chat. I would love to know your biggest takeaway tonight, because like this, I geek out on this kind of stuff. I absolutely love sharing knowledge that we've learned like literally this Saturday, we spent our Saturday morning doing training, learning how to do the perfect hire. Okay. We spent our Saturday not sleeping in, not doing all that nonsense, but focus on our business and the success of our business, because we know we want to get to 1,000 employees. We know we want to get to $1 billion of revenue. We know that we have these very big key performance indicators, KPIs, that we have to, do this, this, and this. Like, we reverse engineer what has to happen. And once we figured out what needs to happen, we put it in our calendar. It's like, here's a reminder, here's a reminder, here's a reminder where you need to be at this point at quarter one, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and so forth and so on. So make sure, if you are committed to your business, if you're committed to your profession, send us an email. Support, can you type this in for me? support@rescuesiteservices.com. And we can, and this simply say, branding or something. I don't know, this something that would obviously get our attention. We want to make sure that we can help you grow your business more effectively, efficiently, and profitably, all through the lens of achieving your personal, professional, and financial goals. It's been a great Monday evening. I think that this was an awesome, incredible time, spent together. I geeked out. I mean, I just went, balls to the wall over here, just throwing all the information that we learned over this weekend. So if you want to learn more, if you want to dig deeper, let us know. Also, we do have those recordings, the official recordings of the inaugural Rescue Owners Live. So make sure to pick up those copies. Make sure you support Pass the Pulse. Let's get this defibrillator into the hands of a family community member that needs it, so that they can, spend more time with their loved ones. And we can do that by $97. And then, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. It's been a great episode number 23 of Rescue Owners Live. We will see you next Monday from 8 to 9 p.m. Talk to you soon. Be great.
As a CPR instructor, you probably get asked how and where to buy equipment like defibrillators and first aid kits. Up to now, you've probably either shrugged off the question or told them to Google it. Don't miss opportunities like that. Instead, be the one to not only provide the knowledge of how to save a life, but also the resources to be ready to rescue. It's time to become a Rescue Site affiliate, and it's incredibly easy to do. Introducing the Rescue Site Affiliate Program, the only customizable platform with every FDA-approved defibrillator on the market, first aid equipment, and so much more. Now with the Rescue Site Affiliate Program, you can recommend products and earn commissions without having to purchase, warehouse, or ship products. When you become a Rescue Site affiliate today, you are automatically approved and will receive a customizable link to your store with your name on it. You earn commissions from all qualifying purchases through the traffic you drive to your new store. Whether you're just getting started as a CPR instructor, whether you have a team of instructors, or whether you're a training center with thousands of instructors across the country, this program is for you. Stop shrugging and start providing both the knowledge and the resources to save more lives. Become a Rescue Site affiliate today.